Right, it's later on again. And I just realized he actually deleted my comment. Oh, why you did that, qlib? That was a bit of a D move. Or maybe because I said check out my channel, maybe he thought I was trying to advertise or something. I was actually trying to help out. Anyways, well, I still recommend his one because it looks like he's going to try and get into it. Another thing I did was I had a look at some of the developers on LinkedIn. I got in touch with one of them and I asked him the question about the basically what rdagent is looking for. I mean, I think I know the answer. I think it's basically this PV daily PV-H5 thing or whatever it's called. And but like, how does it want that to be set up? In other words, because AI seems to think that qlib should automatically do that when it imports data, which it doesn't. And to me, H5, it sounds like a file that should be done after, you know, some sort of machine learning or some sort of process anyway. And so one of the developers he actually responded to me. He got back to me, which was nice of him. And he said, but he basically gave me someone else to contact, another developer. So I'm going to try that. And also I was talking to briefly just a professor of engineering I know. And I just briefly mentioned to him about it. And I don't know if he'll ever have time to actually look into it, but possibly next time I talk to him, he might know something as well. He actually works with these kind of things, so he definitely would know what he's talking about as well. So hopefully, if I don't hear it, is the daily PV-H5. This is, I think, the clincher, right? This is the issue here. This daily PV-H5. That's what I hope to sort out now by the end of this video, or you know, if we can get that to the way that rdagent expects it to be, and why it expects it to be that way, I'm not sure. Maybe it's supposed to come down with the data or something. I'll have a look at some other data, see if it has it, and what exactly it is. Obviously, I thought it might have to do with those other alpha 360s and 158s and stuff, but obviously I don't think that's it. It looks like AI thinks that that rdagent wants it to be 2 columns, which is volume and close, something like that. But I don't know if that's just because I was trying to make it work with some synthetic data. So I was like, here, well, if it's not working, let's just try and make it work, you know. But even that kind of caused issues, and I'm like, well, what is the original daily PV-H5 that it wants? What is it actually looking for? What is this daily PV-H5? So I'm gonna go looking for that, and then I'll try and contact that other developer that one of the developers got back to me. I'll get his name for you later on to thank him, and yeah, and whatever about deleting my comment, I don't know, dude. But anyway, yeah, check him out too, qlib. He seems nice otherwise. Other than deleting my comment, he seems nice. All right. I'll be right back then, and I'll try and figure this daily PV-H5 thing out. Okay, so looking into the documentation a bit further, the only place it's mentioned in the whole PDF is here under kind of a research or benchmark. And it says here that ensure the data is placed in factor.day.bin settings.data folder debug. They should be in H5 or MD format and must not be stored in subfolders. And AI here says that it needs to be both daily PV-H5 and daily FH5. And if they appear to be fundamental, so they're very important data files needed for the calculation. However, there's a gap in the documentation, no clear explanation of where to get the files, no description of how to create them, and no specific specification of the exact structure. So I have gone on to the other developer to ask, like where do I get these or how do I create them? I am going to try and create them here anyway, but maybe he'll come back with an answer. So am in contact with the developers now, hopefully, because I've mentioned the other developer as a point of contact. So hopefully he'll get back to me. So I'm just going to look further into this. Hopefully maybe you might get a result today if we can create them ourselves. I don't see why not, but let's find out. Okay, so what I'm doing now is just, I was just looking through the PDF, and it said about running the general model with a PDF. So I had a PDF there about VWAP, some VWAP thing, and I ran that to see if that's maybe going to create the H5 file or something. I don't know. If not, we'll just try and create it ourselves. But I know, just trying to follow things that it says in the documentation anyway. There's a lot of errors. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, another thing I tried. Okay, I think it was actually successful this time. I think I was just in the wrong directory. I had to do with the .env or something. That looks like it was actually successful. As for what I created, I don't know, it's the shape of the output, 8.1 or something. I don't know, let's created a .pkl. It loves creating a lot of them. So just looking at the files, there might be references to the required data files, but I don't see it. This is the files I created. Model.py, d, init, and or. So I don't see any daily PV things. This may not be related to what we're looking for again, probably a bit of a sidetrack, but okay, so the daily pv.h5 exists in factor implementation source data and this one, data debug. All right, so if you look, that's where they actually exist, right? I think these are where the issue lies, or maybe the files aren't great. Okay, but so it's rdagent, git ignore folder, factor implementation, source data debug, and implementation source data. So they're there. The daily pvh5 is there, right? So we know where it is at least. But I think it might be also in qlib, but anyway, that's where it is there. Okay, well, trying to find that file over here in qlib. I don't know if it's because it's not initialized or what, but it says maybe it needs to be mounted. So maybe because we've been restarting Docker and the installation might mount it initially, and then when we restart, it's not mounted anymore. So maybe we need to mount CD or agent when we are starting Docker. So I think I'll close Docker and try and restart it with rdagent mounted with it. Let's see if that works. Right, so after mounting on the Docker, so Docker commit backup image, okay. So back up the image and then Docker run it with the mount of the latest backup, I guess. Then sorry, Docker commit backup image there, that's done. Then we have to stop it. Then we run it with the mount. All right, I hate that it gives it a new name, a new container name every time, because I wanted to stick it to the one name. That's what I tried. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So there we go. And then obviously just open Jupyter and I'll put in this here to see the daily pv.h5. And this time it does exist, right? Because last time it didn't, but when we mount it now it does. But inside you see that there is 0 entries. So this is a panda data frame. And you see open, close, high, low, volume, factors. There's 5, but they are empty, right? So this is what keeps coming up as a problem all the time. It says it's empty, which it is. That's true. So what do we do about that? Let's find out. Okay, so we're going to attempt to reconstruct the daily pv.h5 now. So yeah, we looked at there's nothing in it, so that's right. Then we did where the data is, and we looked at where all the data is, which is, you know, the CSI 300 and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know if it wants to take it from the zip or if it's going to take it from the text. And I think the .bins are the binary ones, right? So I don't know. AI is going to tell me what to do here. So verify the existence of .bin files across to confirm this. Okay. Yeah, provided the daily typically does. So verify. I will now help you check the first part, listing relevant bin files. Okay. So let's check the first part, listing the relevant bin files. Great. Now let's proceed. Collect the bin files. All right. Okay, it just gave me this code and I ran it. Said that. Verified that the bin files are available. Combine the data into the data frame. Ensure it matches the expected format. Yeah, I think there's a key or something that has to match the same key. So hopefully it knows what it's doing here. Because it does, if the key doesn't match or something, there can be issues. I think there says something about key here, so hopefully that seems to know what it's doing. So I'll just copy this and I'll try this one. We got an error. The length of data values. There's a mismatch between the length of data values and the index, specifically the data dictionary you created. But the date range defined is only 100. Here's how you address the issue. Determine the length of the data dictionary. Okay, instead of doing like the whole data, I just said would it be easier if we just did the CSI 300, for example. So, I mean, maybe we need to do the whole data, but like this will be a start because it might get something working rather than, I mean, if we need to do the whole thing later, then we might be able to figure that out, but at least this will be something. So it wanted to do it one file at a time. I said, you know, let's just create a script to do them all. So, all right, it's asking me to pip install h5py. So I'm doing that. So I said after installation, rerun the script, which we've done. And it has created the daily PV5, okay, but in qlib, so don't we need it in the other directory which we started off with, which was git ignore folder factor implementation, this one. Okay, so we might need to swap it over to that then. And do we need to swap it over to that one? So that finally it may work, I guess, hopefully. Also, I'm going to commit this to save to the Docker. You must remember now it has renamed it, which I didn't want it to do. So what way are we going to commit this? It's going to have a different commit name now. This is why I don't like to change the name. It always wants to change the name on me. So yeah, I even told it I wanted to keep the same name, but anyway, I jumped the gun and copy pasted it in too quick. Anyway, we want to just make sure you save your Docker, yeah. Oh wait, that only processed one stock. That's not what we want. I thought it said processed 188 stocks. No, that's just one stock. What the hell? Oh, it wanted me to add the remaining stocks myself here. And now it's going to try and add the other 300 stocks down here itself, which it probably won't finish, knowing ChatGPT. My goodness, that's going to be a really long script. So is this the only way to do it? My goodness. Maybe it's better to do it from the zip file. That would be the raw data, right? Or is the raw data, or is the zip already binary? Maybe we need the raw data to do this properly. I told it about the unzip file, maybe just binary anyway, so it said it's going to try and automate the process by extracting and aggregating data using a script to read the binary files. Would you like me to provide the yes? Okay. So it's going to come up with a different automated. Why didn't it do that in the first place? It wanted me to write down 300 stocks separately. It just put down the first two and then said, okay, you add the rest. No thanks. Okay, there was one missing feature or something, but altogether just like 10 million. What did it say? It's over 10 million rows. So basically, I think that script worked, whatever it did there at that time. So the automated one. If you want to take a look at it, looks like that. If that is any help to you. All right. It's doing the CSI 300, taking them all together, putting them into the daily PV thing. Now we're just going to check that they're all there. And then I'll tell it about the, okay, it seems to be all there. So this time the data frame is not empty. Yay. Right. And we have a proper CS or PH, whatever the thing is called, daily thing. So I'm just reminding it about the original problem where the actual folder should be, or file should be, in git ignore folder, factor information. For some reason, I mean, I don't know if it needs to be there, but I mean, if it says ignore folder, maybe it doesn't, but maybe it should be copied over there anyway, because it did say 0 stuff in there on the data frame, and that seems to be the problem every time. So maybe that is the one. Excuse me. So I think we'll just copy that one over. File successfully copied. All right. Or using the shell command. Well, we used Python. And then validation. All right, file exists true. And there it is. And that was pretty much the same thing as the first one, right? So we could go all the way up to the first one that didn't work here. That's pretty much the same, right? And we could just redo that one. And this time it should have, instead of an empty data frame, yeah, that's pretty much the same one. So it has 10 million rows there. All right, well, here comes the test. I didn't even do it step by step. I'll go for the full thing. See if it does it this time. Okay, it's still saying empty data frames. Key error arises. Date, time, and instrument columns are not present in the data frame result. All right, so I don't know, something going on there. Is that the same? It doesn't say empty this time though. So datetime and instrument. So apparently it also needs the result.h5 file. Now I'm wondering, has that got to do with the alpha 360 and all that stuff? I'm wondering, do we need to include the alphas here? I don't know. Are they not the result? I'm not sure. So that's what this script is supposed to be doing, but I don't see an output yet. Right, so we have the result H5. It said those errors don't matter. And now we can just validate that that's there. I don't know why I put in a VWAP row just for, I don't know what it said, for 10. A VWAP momentum of 10. I decided to put in, I think just because of that particular piece of code that I copied over. It probably doesn't need that. A VWAP momentum of 10 has no value anyway. But I guess it has over 9,000 entries, I think, for this one. So, all right, maybe it doesn't need that third row, I'm thinking. I'll just take it out, I think. Or column, I mean. We probably don't need that third column. Yeah, I'm just going to remove that column. I don't think it's needed. Just asking, where does it expect this data? Is it going to be in those same ignore folders things? It's funny that it says ignore folder because they seem to be the most important folders. It should be like pay attention folder. Anyway, it says, yeah, to ensure rdagent can properly locate, you need to move it or copy to where it expects the data. I'm just asking, where does it expect it? So based on the previously provided structure, it appears to look for HDF files like that within those directories that we were saying. So the main one being this source data. So here's what to do. Copy here to main directory, copy to debug directory. Oh no, which one? I don't know. Main directory, I suppose. Verify after copying. Well, maybe we copy it to both then. So we can do this in the terminal, I suppose. Since it's saying to do it that way. Oh, this isn't PowerShell, so it's going to look a bit different. Well, where is my PowerShell? See, I don't know. Well, we need to do it from here because this is Docker. I'll just say, can you give it in Python? Give it to me that way. And then let's see if it works again. Target 2, so it's putting them in both of them itself, which is what I was thinking of doing. I don't know if the other one was in both of them. So result.h5. Right, they're copied over. All right, one more time. Fingers crossed. Fin factor. Fear factor, more like. Is it going to work? At least we have some idea what to do now if we're using our own data now later, that those two files are important. It looks like it's going to take a lot of time for to do all the files. I was still wondering what those alpha ones then are, if they're full of factors. I thought that this would be using the alpha stuff. Right, let me have a look if this works or not. Sometimes it's hard to catch. Okay, well, we're not getting any empty data frames, or it's not looking for the other H5. So as far as I can tell, this is pretty much working all the way down. Now, is it trying to do absolutely every stock and just, or is it just doing is there just a different scenario each time on all the stocks? It looks like a different scenario each time, like price momentum 10 is this one. So it's creating all these different factors, I think. I guess that's what fin factor is for. I guess. Or sometimes it's training like on the machine learning models as well, isn't it? So I'm not entirely. This factor calculates 30-day percentage, okay. And then sometimes does it stick it into a machine learning model too? I don't know. Well, it's going and going and going without any errors. So this is a fantastic result for today. I absolutely feel like we've made progress today for the first time, because all the rest of it was just setting things up. This was really the main issue, to try and get the RD factor going. I mean, of course, we can do many things in qlib and everything, which we should be able to do, but I just wanted to get this working, and second of all, now understand it now, which is the next thing, to see exactly what it's doing. And it seems to be creating a lot of factors. Is that all it's doing though? I'm not too sure. Maybe it's also, it certainly just keeps going anyway. It's like it's creating these hypotheses and new factors, like a 10-day, a 20-day window. It's like, it's just keep coming up with these hypotheses. Okay, let's just get a brief description. What exactly is fin factor doing? I will just tell it it's running. It seems to be running well this time, but what exactly is fin factor doing? Can you give? I know I could look in the documentation and all that, but a concise but comprehensive, detailed summary, please. Concise but comprehensive, yeah, I know. Anyway, let's see. I just don't want it to be too long, because sometimes ChatGPT just spits things out all over the place and can't even follow it. Much like what's happening with the agent behind it there. So as the data input as factor calculation, compute specified financial factors like momentum, volatility, and others based on loaded data. Each factor is formulated to capture specific market characteristics. Validation ensures calculated factors include required columns, handles missing or invalid data, outputs generation, saves the computed factors in a new HDF5 file, result H5, with proper structure. Okay, so we have to remember that's also going to be result H5. Okay, so maybe it's saving it in new columns on the one that's already there. Multi-index columns. All right, so this is kind of like creating those alphas that we had. So it's creating its own sort of alpha or whatever. Anyway, execution feedback validates successful execution applications. The output can be used for backtesting, simulating trading strategies, portfolio construction, and predictive modeling. So in summary, fin factor automates the calculation of essential financial indicators or factors or whatever from raw price and volume data, enabling streamlined data analysis and trading strategy development. So does it just continue indefinitely? Fin factor process evaluates and calculates financial factors based on the adjusted daily price. Here's what it likely does. Initialization data. It expects data, blah, blah, blah. Factor calculation computes factors, moving averages, outputs generation, saves to a new HDF5, result H5, or other output locations. Outputs, data frame, datetime, instrument, iterative processing. Sequentially for each instrument over the time series, applying transformations like rolling windows or group based on may include logging may include logging feedback and the completion status missing data early. It continues indefinitely. If it continues, it's likely processing a large number of instruments or dates depending on the dataset size and complexity. Ensure task window completes as a mechanism to log progress so it can be resumed if you've been interrupted. If more specifiers are required, please share any configuration. So it looks like if you are going to like generate all these factors, that you might be better off doing it with a smaller pool, maybe, rather than what do I have, 10 million lines or something there. So I can just stop this or keep it going. I mean, I'm glad it's working now. So we got that working. Not entirely sure how we're going to implement that, but that's how we got it working. It was basically creating our own PV daily thing and then putting it exactly in that location, the ignore git folder or whatever. And the same with the result.h5 we needed to also create, basically. And then it runs and in the same similar location. So then that runs no problem. Okay, so we have that running. So we've got to go on to the next step. I've been on this step so long, I'm not exactly sure what the next step is. I wouldn't be worried about these final decisions false because it's actually learning to do. Like if it doesn't work, it'll do another one. That's what the agent's supposed to do. So, all right. So I'm sure we'll find a use for this now that we know how it's working. And that is a great result for today. Let's figure out what our goals are next and how we need to continue using rdagent with qlib. There we go. So I hope this has helped because this is one you could seriously get stuck on. And now I've asked one of the developers the question. I know the answer to it now, so I can tell him myself that I found it out. He probably doesn't even know what I'm trying to ask anyway. But if he does get back to me, the other guy, both of them are Chinese. They both got back. Well, one of them got back to me, and if the other one got back to me, I can tell him. Like I sorted that part out. What should I do next? Well, let's. I'll be back in a second, and I'll figure out what we're going to do next. Probably some machine learning. Maybe try and use some of these factors that we're creating here. So there we go. We have fin factor working. The fin factor function is now working. I think I just got to cancel out of it because it's probably going to go on forever if I have a million rows or whatever it is, 10 million. There we go. Result. Let's continue on with our journey. So it's pretty amazing what it can do so far. It's like, you can we can find all sorts of PDFs or things, white papers, like academic papers for models. We can try and train it on the models. We can use this for doing factors. So this can get your brain spinning on what we can do with these kind of things and how would you like to implement them in your algorithm and so on. So I don't know if I don't know if I'll go straight into my own data now, into US data and stuff. Bit burnt out and all of this, to be honest. I want to do a bit more testing and stuff before we actually go in and do our own thing. I just want to make sure everything's up and running as well as possible. Keep it well oiled. keep this Docker saved as well. I'm going to do that now in a minute. But there we go. I think we'll leave that video for here for today. I think I have one more to put in before, but anyway, this is the main one. So we figured it out. Fin, factor, pretty much working there. Happy days. Why did that take so long? Right. See you next time here on Scooby Algo Trades. Scooby-Doo!